doing really great. I think I'm going live. Let me see. All right, it looks like I'm live. So, hello. Hope everyone's having a really great evening. Um, I am doing video 2 of the mini video series for how to start your garden or where to start your garden, getting started with your garden this year. This is video 2. Um, I've decided to start doing this kind of series because doing short videos, just kind of with some tips and tricks on getting started in your garden, I'm hoping will be really helpful for you to get started. Um, because I know that a lot of people that are just starting out having their garden, it's can be really difficult to figure out even where to start, what you should be thinking about, how you should get started, just that's first taking that first step. So I'm hoping these videos help. So in this video, we are going to talk about why you should even have a garden. For me, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Stephanie, and I am a wife and a mother, and I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys. They're 3 and 4, and I have a 6-month-old girl. So we are pretty busy. We have little kids, but we find time to garden. It's really important to us, and this year even more important, which I talked about in the last video, about joining the self-sufficient movement that is really taking over this year because of just being able to take back some of your confidence and self-reliance on things instead of relying on the stores and commercial products. So many people are doing that this year, and gardening is a big part of that. So this year is a great year to have a garden. So where should we start? The first thing that I think is important is determining why you even want to have a garden. When you say a vegetable garden or some kind of garden, do you think of rows and rows and rows of tomatoes? Do you think of a small, compact garden with herbs and a couple plants that you use? Some of the terms that I tend to use, just so you guys know, I use the term kitchen garden. A kitchen garden is a small personal garden which has maybe 1 or 2 of a single plant. It's not so much for preserving, like it's not rows and rows of tomatoes or rows and rows of peppers where you're going to get huge harvests that you're then going to use to preserve. It's usually a smaller garden for your household, either for that season, maybe some preservation if you have a really great harvest on tomatoes or peppers or cucumbers, but it's not done for that sole purpose. So a kitchen garden is a really great way to start out, especially if you have small spaces. If you can only do a couple of raised beds, doing a kitchen garden is a really great way to start, and it kind of lessens the stress of thinking that you need to have a ton of property to do rows and rows and rows. Now, I've had kitchen gardens. I don't do tons of rows. We don't have like farmer gardens or anything. We have small gardens, and I've been able to preserve tomato sauce and salsa and peppers and salsa. I said salsa, but peaches, all kinds of stuff. Although I bought the peaches, I don't have peach trees, but those kinds of things. So a kitchen garden, you'll hear me use that term. That's a personal garden. That is pretty much where people start off. It usually has herbs, some tomatoes, and like I said, like small single plants for your family. So why would you even want to do that? So there's tons of reasons why. There's tons of benefits, and I'll talk about them. But to determine whether or not you are interested in preserving like huge amounts of food, you will want to have that determination so that you can decide and plan where you're going to have that large plot of garden. I wouldn't recommend that starting out, but if that's your goal, then that might be where you're going to start off. But if you're just interested in getting started, getting your feet wet, having some herbs and some simple plants, that's a really great thing to know, so we can start determining your location and what plants to prioritize. So why would you even want to have a garden? There's so many reasons aside from just having fresh fruits and vegetables, even though that's a really great reason. But some of the things that I love is, just having the fresh food at your fingertips. I really love going out there to the garden. And my garden, I have like 3 different plots at this point. I have some raised beds, I have a smaller herb garden, and then I have a larger plot in ground that is where I do like have a blueberry bush. My strawberries are there. That's where I usually do my squash and zucchini and my vining stuff like my cucumbers and my watermelons. Um, And then I have like my raised beds where I do my tomatoes and my peppers and those types of things. So just being able to go out there and pick stuff and come in the house with huge amounts of food is just a really great feeling. And the boys love to go out and just pick tomatoes and eat them like as if they're apples or something. It's just like a fun thing to do. And it gets them out and exploring the garden. And in addition to that, it's a great activity for the whole family. So there's tons of different levels of skill that goes into a garden. So even if you have little kids, you can get them involved in any stage. So if you have a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they can start by digging holes. They can start by removing rocks. They can start doing some things like, I really like the idea of having like their own plot, like their own little raised bed or container that they can kind of play with and take care of themselves. And then all the way up to like a 5, 6-year-old, you can have them more on harvesting or more on pest control. It's just lots of different tasks that you can involve your whole family in. So it really becomes more of a team effort and a just something that you work together from start to finish, and you can really reap the rewards of your hard work. Another reason that I love having a garden is the food awareness that comes with it. So now, if you have tomato plants, you have all these plants not only for yourself to really explore, how things grow, how long they take, how much they need as far as nurturing and everything. But that's just such a great thing to teach your kids, so they know that you don't just go to the grocery store and pick up a bunch of tomatoes, that you know what goes in behind, through the whole process. It's a really great thing to teach them, and to be able to not only teach them just the awareness, but also patience, because if you start, from seed, there's a lot of different steps. So from seed to the ground to the germinating to having a seedling, and all to actually being able to have your food and then cook it and then eat it. So it's a long process and lots of rewarding steps along the way, and I think that's really great for kids. um, Another thing is that if you can teach them how to garden and how to cook with the food, then they will never really go hungry. They'll just know how to, they'll learn how to do it. They'll be able to have those skills. I mean, those kinds of skills, how to feed yourself, is just such a great benefit, and something that I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have these days. So, at some point, or, it's just going to be a great skill that they can teach other people. So, another great thing is that it's just a good outdoor activity, and it's just great to get them outside. It's something that I can be like, all right, hey guys, let's go take a walk. Let's go look at the outdoors. Let's go check out our plants. And it's something that they always enjoy. So also, I talked in the last video, if you missed the last video, check on that, about this self-sufficiency movement that is coming up and is really taking over. And that is kind of getting back to your roots and really learning these skills, these time-honored skills that have kind of like gone away for the sake of convenience, and that people are really trying to bring back. And I love that idea, and I really hope that you guys are excited about that also. So those are just some really good benefits for gardening. There's so many more I'm sure I missed, but if you are at all interested in having a garden but you don't know where to start, I would really, really love to work with you. So what I would love to do is to hop on a 20-minute call with you, completely free, and I can help you strategize and plan your garden this year. So what we would do on the call was we would just kind of get an idea of like how much property you have, what you're working with, what your goals are, what your idea of a garden is, and if you've ever had a garden before. If so, we can even talk about some of the difficulties you've had in the past, and we can kind of strategize on how to get ahead of them this year. So I'm going to put the link in the comments for you to sign up for a 20-minute call with me. I would love to help you through this. It's never too early. Never too early to get started. So definitely want to get started now if you can. So I'm going to put the link in there, and I will see you tomorrow for the next video. Thanks a lot.